Boro aboye boshisheo ekuojo eti. Today is Friday. This is the day of opposition, of difficulties. May you have opposition-free Friday. May all your endeavors move smoothly and go with the grain of creation and along with the will of Olodumare. Today I've got a great little chat for you. Every day I say I'm going to be brief, and every day it ends up being a little bit longer than I had anticipated. Today I'm going to be brief. All right. Now, in our previous conversation in this installment, I think this is our fifth installment in the conversation about how to really begin your study and your practice of Ifa and Orisha lifestyle. In the first conversation, we talked about your learning style, right? Aboy Shishio, Ellison, greetings to you and the family. Please give my kind regards to everyone. And tell them I'm still waiting to hear all those Oriki and those songs. I want to hear those little voices. So in the first conversation, we talked about learning styles, right? Crucial. You know, I can't emphasize how important that is to you as the seeker. You got to have a good idea of what your learning style is. Are you top down or you bottom up? Second part of the conversation, we start looking at content. What's the first content you should start taking in? You're getting a reading isn't the first thing you should be doing. Knowing who your Orisha is not the first thing you should be doing. What's my Odu and all that kind of stuff? Those are not the first thing that you should be asking yourself. That's way down the line. Okay. You need the fundamentals first. You need an understanding of what this is about, what we believe, how is knowledge formed, right? People out here running around like it's just an opinion-driven thing. Whoever talks loudest is the one who's right. You got to get you got to come in contact with the building blocks. That's your reality check, okay? And it's also empowerment because it gives you some insights into what you really have at your disposal before you get to the point where you're knowing your Odu or your Orisha. Anyway, part two that in the installment is the fundamentals. From the fundamentals, we went into devotion, right? What is your day-to-day routine? How do you pray? Okay, how do you structure your spiritual practice step by step? All that's there. See if I can remember all the parts here. After we did the daily devotion, we looked at the fundamentals of Orisha lifestyle. Pataki was the second book that we looked at. Oh, I think after that, we went into dreams. Okay, we started looking at the importance of dreams. Because dreams, you know, that's your internal divination system. That's how you get a clear understanding of how you get messages, right? How messages come that are tailor-made for you. And you start to really gradually cultivate a battery or a catalog of symbolism, right? That come from your ancestors or your Egbe or from your Ori or wherever they may be coming from through the channel of dreams. Then fourth, is that right? Maybe my count is off. I can't remember. We talked about dreams. We talked about devotion. We talked about learning. We talked about the fundamentals. And today, what we're going to talk about is how you bring the practice into your home, and what kinds of resources and materials you need to be able to effectively carry out the devotion in your home with your family. And this particular portion was something that I really was thinking about for the Akpetebi, right? Akpetebi is the bride of the Babalawo. And so I've gotten, you know, a series of questions over the years from Akpetebi who are wondering, well, like, what do I do, right? Where do I start? What's, you know, where's my area of expertise, right? And so this conversation today is going to be about resource management, right? And I'm going to draw from this, which is Agbole. This is the practical guide to Orisha family devotion and management, right? How do you manage all the resources associated with the devotion? We're not talking about beads. We're not talking about pots. We're not talking about any of the icons and accoutrements that go with this Orisha or that Orisha. No, we're just talking about the basic materials that everybody needs just to be a practitioner. Now, I recently got back into smoothies. Years ago, my friends and I, they were people I hung out with were making a lot of smoothies. And I was into it as long as we were together. If we weren't, then I didn't make smoothies. But recently, I got back into the smoothie gang, right? I got inducted into the smoothie gang, and I love it. And right away, I realized there's some specialized equipment and materials, resources that I need. I need a certain quality of a blender. I need some base, fruits that are going to pretty much go into all of my smoothies, right? Then I needed to get a sense of what these different supplements and all the different powders you can add to your smoothies and what kind of is standard, right? And there was initial cost, right? To get in the game, I had to invest in those equipment and materials. And I'm thankful to Dr. Afivi, who pretty much walked me through the whole process, But that's the idea. When you have a practice of any sort, if it's yoga or if it's lifting weights or it's jogging, there are materials that you need. And the better, understanding you have of those materials going into it, the easier it is for you to anticipate how much time it's going to take, how much money is it going to take, right? Just to get into the practice. So this book, the Agbole Guide, is about that. And the book is divided up into 4 sections. And the 4 sections are food. Chapter 1 is all about food. Chapter 2 is about clothes. Chapter 3 is about the shrine. And chapter 4 is about economics. All right. So when we look at the food, I'm going to go right in here so you can, I can show you, right? It's as usual. It's not a lot of text. I don't know if you can see that. It looks kind of blurry, right? It's not a lot of text. And then what we do is we go straight into kind of a laundry list, right? And I'm helping you basically plan what kinds of foods you need, creating strategies for preparing the foods and storing the foods, right? So that you can use them at a different date, right? Being able to plan the menu and the storage, etc., for different events, right? The itadogun, the oseifa, etc. This is essential. Say, for example, during your oseifa, or during the oseifa, let's say, Ifa or Ori wants, ekuru or moi moi or akara, right? Those are materials that you can have on hand. You need to have on hand, and you need to have an understanding that these are recipes, and then you can start researching, right? Oh, okay, I need this bean flour. I need these spices and things like that. This is how long it takes to make those dishes. You can start planning, right? That's the idea, so that you can start planning, because food is integral to the practice. You're always going to be making some kind of food, right? That's part of our practice, because even if you have shrines and you feed those shrines or the altars, right? You have an icon or an altar for Obatala or Guifa. We don't give everything to the Orisha. We give a small portion to the Orisha. We only give a small portion to the ancestors. The rest of it, we eat and we feed other people. Okay, that's integral to the practice at every level. It goes on from your weekly ose all the way up to an annual festival, big festival that involves a whole kingdom, right? That process is built into our practice. So you got to understand the importance of food and all the requirements that are necessary to prepare the food. Okay. Next is clothing. Chapter 2 is clothing, right? So in this chapter, everybody loves the clothes, right? The style. Yoruba style is just impeccable. So what I do here is I walk you through the indigenous clothing. Right? We start from fabric. So I'm walking you through, these are different categories of fabric, a little bit about how they're made, but mostly, hey, these are the most original traditional fabrics, right? These are the original color schemes. These are the outfits, the uniforms. Okay, this is a full women's attire. Iro, buba, gele, everything, everything. Full men's attire. Fila, Betiaja, Agbada, whatever. From top to bottom, I walk you through. This is a complete ensemble of Yoruba men's clothes, complete ensemble Yoruba women's clothes. What that gives you the opportunity to do is, again, plan, research. How much does Kijipa cloth cost? How much does Ofi cloth cost? How much does Ankara cost? Okay. How much is a full ensemble for men, for women at different levels? I can have, at least expensive, most expensive. But you can, with this information, how to start investigating and predicting and planning what you're going to need to set yourself up for yourself, for your wife, your husband, your children. Chapter 3 is the family shrine. Okay, the family shrine. And when I say the family shrine, I'm talking about not, we use shrine and altar interchangeably. Not the shrine for Obatala or Shango. I'm talking about the shrine room, the sacred space for your family. You need to understand that that's part of the practice. Okay, this is not, your house is your worship space, and so you've got to have some way to designate sacred space, right? At every level, this is crucial. All right. So I walk you through, how do you keep it? What's the cleanliness, different elements, flowers, water, fabric, a table, right? All of those elements are there. The mindset that you're going into, the ways in which you can set up your family worship space so that it's also a learning space, right? Because there's certain vocabulary, there's certain greetings, right? I started off by saying aboraboye, right? It's just a habit of mine, but really aboraboye is something that we say, that you say to a babalawo when you greet him. You see him, you say aboraboye, and he's going to respond. But what are the greetings? How do you communicate with one another in the sacred space? Okay, I go into a little bit of that. I walk you through the most fundamental ingredients that you need in your sacred space according to the Yoruba tradition of West Africa. This does not account for Candomblé. It does not account for Haitian Vodun or, Afro-Cuban Yoruba traditions, right? Lukumi, as people call it. It's not that. We're talking about the West African tradition of the Yoruba people. The last chapter is on family money. This is, I think, one of the most important elements, because your economy is going to drive your culture. Okay, the way that money moves is what's going to determine how you move and how your family moves. And so you got to have a really clear understanding of all of the other portions that I mentioned before, from clothes to the sacred space to the food. All of those have cost associated with them. And so what we do here is we look not only at the obvious, right, tallying up that you would do, but also the mindset, the Yoruba attitude and perspective on money is what we go through in this part. You don't have to, but it's better, because the economy is so influential on your culture and your lifestyle. It will enrich your practice if you can separate your Western mind around money from your spiritual mind around money. All right. There are certain principles that govern the way we approach money itself. This is so important because if you continue to associate, if you keep a consumer mentality, let me put it that way, if you keep a consumer mentality, which is Western, then you're going to look at all of these materials by how much they cost, and you're going to be thinking about, when am I going to get this money back? You're going to be doing this profit loss, assessment that is essential. It matters, but it's not the filter through which we understand what we're doing, right? And so I walk you through the filter, right? So there are six different philosophical, if you will, principles, six virtues of money and finances that I introduce here in the Agbole that are essential. They're crucial because those virtues and those perspectives are going to inform the way you spend or invest in the food and the clothes and the other, accoutrements of your shrine. And your practice won't get contaminated by, some of the things that we consider normal about money here in the West. So that's the fourth chapter. All right. Money management and money mindset, right? What's your money mindset? Is your money mindset indigenous? Is your money mindset Western? Very, very important. Start indigenous, and then you can add the Western, mindset onto as one of the layers, right? As one of the many filters, right? But the overwhelming majority of your approach should be indigenous if you want to carry the proper spirit into your practice and your devotion. And then in the end, I give a conclusion that, frames up our philosophy overall and why we're doing what we're doing, what the implications of it are, and, some hopes and ambitions for you as a devotee. So that is Agbole. Okay, this goes really well with Pataki, which I haven't gotten to, Dida Obi, right? Pataki, Dida Obi, Agbole are all integral to your practice and your devotion. These are very, very practical, useful guides. The Agbole, Dida Obi, and Pataki all together can be, fundamental to guiding your day-to-day rituals and ceremonies. All right. So I hope this has been useful information for you. I see I'm at almost 18 minutes. So much for brevity, but we got the main idea across. If you have any questions about, what the Agbole guide is about, how to use it, how it dovetails with other dimensions of the practice, please feel free to leave your comments in the comment section below, and I'll do my very best to respond as soon as possible. Until then, many blessings to you and your family, and I look forward to talking to you all soon. Bye for now. Odabo.